Hello, good evening. Welcome to North West Tonight with Roger Johnson. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday evening. Our top story. Celebration turns to mayhem. Paul Doyle pleads guilty to driving into crowds at Liverpool's trophy parade.
Driving a vehicle into a crowd is an act of calculated violence. This was not a momentary lapse by Paul Doyle.
134 people were injured as the former Royal Marine drove through them. Also in the programme tonight, how did today's budget chime with workers at an ice cream van factory in Crewe? There's something fishy on the Ribble. We're trying to solve the mystery of a river's missing salmon. Save the last dance for me. Why Ron and Marilyn made a poignant final visit to Blackpool's Tower Ballroom.
It's been absolutely brilliant, and every time I come, it just fills me up.
And after this morning's very frosty start, we've got a very mild day to come tomorrow, but with a lot of cloud. I'll be back with all the details on that and a look at the rest of the week later in the programme.
It was, prosecutors said, a calculated act of violence that turned celebration into mayhem. And Paul Doyle, the man who drove his car into fans at Liverpool's trophy parade in May, admitted doing it at the start of his trial today. Frustrated by traffic delays, he ploughed into and injured more than 100 supporters aged between 6 months and 77 years old. Live to Mairead Smith. She was in court today, and Mairead, it was a dramatic start and finish to his trial.
That's right, Roger. We arrived here this morning expecting this trial to get underway in earnest today. The jury had been sworn in yesterday, and we were expecting the prosecution to open the case from 10:30 this morning. There was a slight delay, and then we heard that the decision had been made for the Defence Counsel to ask the judge for his client, Paul Doyle, to be rearraigned. And this was the opportunity for the clerk to read out all of those charges. And a very tearful and emotional Paul Doyle wept in the dock as he responded guilty to all 31 charges. 29 people were part of this trial. We will later hear from them and the impact it has had on them when Mr Doyle is sentenced. But we know that the youngest of those was just 6 months old. This is Paul Doyle, the man who deliberately drove his car into crowds of Liverpool fans who had been celebrating their team's title win. Oh my God! It was a bank holiday Monday when the happiness and joy of Liverpool's victory parade turned to horror and shock in a matter of minutes.
Just brushed past my arm, and if he hadn't been beating the horn, he would have hit us because we were up the middle of the road, and he beat the horn and we just got pulled in out of the road.
Absolutely horrific. Just thankful, do you know what I mean? There's so many kids. It's emotional.
The car was stopped literally where we were at that point before we ran.
More than 130 men, women and children, including a 6-month-old baby, were injured. It's understood Paul Doyle was in the city to collect a friend and his family from the celebrations. People became trapped under the Ford Galaxy Titanium as Doyle drove on. Today, Merseyside Police said it was only by sheer luck no one was killed.
In just 7 minutes, his dangerous driving meant that his car had collided with more than 100 people, including children, in some cases trapping them underneath the vehicle and causing serious injuries.
Paul Doyle appeared to be shaking as he tearfully admitted each of the 31 charges against him, including 17 counts of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm and dangerous driving. Dashcam footage from his car showed him becoming increasingly agitated by the crowds as he approached Dale Street and Water Street. Instead of waiting for them to pass, he deliberately drove at them.
Driving a vehicle into a crowd is an act of calculated violence. This was not a momentary lapse by Paul Doyle. It was a choice he made that day, and it turned celebration into mayhem. Liverpool as a city has shown resilience and unity in the face of this awful act, and I hope the victims, their families, and anyone affected will feel that justice has been done.
In response to today's admissions by Paul Doyle, Liverpool Football Club said they hope today's conviction brings some peace to all those affected by the horrific incident. Our thoughts are with them all. Now aged 54, the businessman and father of 3 has already spent almost 6 months behind bars. Well, Roger, today is exactly 6 months since Paul Doyle's unimaginable actions on Water Street, just a few hundred yards from Liverpool Crown Court. Now, this trial won't go ahead, but that will do very little to dampen the damage and distress caused to those people who were there that day. Merseyside Police say that his actions continue to have long-lasting psychological and physical impacts on the people that were on Water Street. Paul Doyle's sentencing will begin here at Liverpool Crown Court on the 15th of December, and that hearing is expected to take 2 days. Back to you.
Mairead, thank you. Mairead Smith there in Liverpool for us. If you want more on that story, there's a new podcast on BBC Sounds. It's called In Court, the Liverpool Parade, the Paul Doyle trial. As I say, you can find it now on BBC Sounds. Now, a former Countdown champion who stabbed a rival player at a fan club tournament will be detained in hospital indefinitely. A court heard that John Cowan was unfit to stand trial, but a jury found that on the facts he had carried out the attack at a social club in Blackpool last year, having walked in with 2 kitchen knives. British aerospace workers at Warton and Samlesbury in Lancashire stepped up their strike action over pay today, starting a 3-week walkout. The company lost a High Court bid to stop the action from going ahead. And a man from Merseyside has been jailed for 6 weeks after he repeatedly stamped on and killed a gull. Anthony Nurse from Allerton was captured on CCTV kicking a number of gulls in Blackpool in December. He was identified following an RSPCA appeal. The animal charity says it will continue to work to prevent cruelty to all animals, including those which are less popular or misunderstood. Right, we're going to dedicate the next few minutes of the programme to the budget and what it means here. Tax rises, scrapping the 2-child benefit cap, an increase in the minimum wage, new charges for electric vehicle owners. A lot to digest in what Rachel Reeves had to say at lunchtime. She admitted that ordinary people would have to pay a little bit more to help plug the gap in the nation's finances. So we'll get some reaction from Westminster with Annabelle in just a couple of minutes. But first, Andy Gill has been talking to workers at an ice cream van factory in Crewe. Did the budget there get an icy reception?
Whitby Morrisons have been making ice cream vans in Crewe since 1962. They employ 50 people, turning out 100 hand-built vans a year. So has today's budget sparked joy or misery here? Coach builder Sam doesn't like the limit on how much of your salary you'll be able to sacrifice for your pension because it'll mean less money to take home.
Frustrating really, isn't it? Because like I say, you're working hard to earn more money for yourself and to put more money in to benefit from in later life and for your kids, and then you're getting taxed more on it.
But for apprentice Alfie, the 50p an hour rise in the minimum wage from next April is a welcome move.
I think it's positive for me.
Any plans to do with the extra money?
Probably save it for either house or car or something, just something from the future.
Office worker Emma also likes the minimum wage increase because it'll benefit her stepchildren. But as the driver of an electric car, the 3p a mile tax from 2028 is a disappointment.
That will now cost me more to run, when obviously it was bought with the sole purpose of saving the environment, saving money, you know, doing what's best. So, yeah.
How do you feel about that, the fact that your electric car is now going to cost you more?
Well, we were promised, you know, everyone to go electric, save the environment, save money, it's better for everything, and then you're kind of penalised for doing so.
The boss also doesn't like the electric vehicle mileage tax because companies like his have been encouraged to go down that route. And he says increases in the minimum wage mean other payroll costs will have to rise too, which will affect margins.
For those who are really skilled people who've been here a long time and deserve the very top wages, Well, we have to move that forward as well, because otherwise the threshold is just, there's a minimum gap between them. And what incentive is there to really push on and succeed?
The company has a full order book for the next 18 months, but Ed Whitby says the budget could mean lower profits and potentially affect its ability to take on new staff. Andy Gill, BBC North West Tonight, Crewe.
Frosty reaction from some then at the ice cream factory, the van factory. Let's get some political reaction to today's announcements. Our political editor, Annabel Tiffin's in Westminster tonight. You got some MPs with you, Annabel?
I have, Roger. Yes, Rachel Reeves said in her budget today that she had some difficult choices to make and everybody would have to make a contribution. But does that mean she broke any of Labour's manifesto pledges? Does it mean that she satisfied Labour backbenches? And has her budget helped the budgets of thousands of households in the North West? Well, questions for, as you say, 3 of our local MPs. So I'm joined by James Frith, he's the Labour MP for Bury North. Tom Morrison is the Liberal Democrat MP for Cheadle. And Afra Brandreth is the Chester South and Eddisbury MP for the Conservatives. James, if I can start with you, Kemi Badenoch, was she right to say that Labour is taxing working families to pay for welfare?
No, not at all. I mean, once again, Kemi got the tone all wrong in her response today. This was a budget that seeks to cut the cost of living, which is still very much a crisis for too many people. It is a budget to cut the waiting lists of our NHS and to cut the cost of our national debt. Rachel Reeves set out a very clear vision to tackle those 3 priorities, and until people feel that change in their everyday lives, then the job of work is not complete.
And Tom, do you think people will feel that change in their everyday lives after this budget?
I think people are going to feel a change, but it's not the change we want them to feel. Because of this budget, we're going to have 10 million more people dragged into a higher tax band because of the threshold freeze, which is just people cannot cope. We've got a massive cost of living crisis happening, and there's just not been enough action to cure that.
Do you see it, Afra, as Tom mentioned about the threshold on tax, which will push quite a few more people into a higher tax bracket and has been called a stealth tax?
Well, Rachel Reeves in her last budget said that if she did that, it would be hurting working people. That is exactly what she is doing in this budget. She is increasing taxes for hard-working people by £26 billion. She's doing it to pay for her rising welfare bill. And the one thing we need is growth. And we don't see any of that in this budget at all.
She has put up, though, the minimum and living wage, which is going to help thousands of low-income earners.
I think that we understand and support paying people more, but that is no good if there are no jobs for them to do. And our unemployment is up. In fact, we've seen unemployment rise every month with this Labour government. We need to be creating jobs. We need to be helping businesses to really set up, grow those businesses and help get more people into work.
And Tom, I mean, the big, in a way, the headline was that they've lifted the 2-child benefit cap. 450,000 children, according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, will come out of poverty. So that is surely something the Liberal Democrats welcome.
Yeah, we absolutely do welcome that, and it's something we've been calling for from day zero, really. But I think the problem here is how are we going to pay for the rest of it? We've just been talking about businesses there. Businesses have been hit time and time and time again, and there's not been enough support. There should have been a 5% cut to VAT for hospitality businesses, which would have then helped the employment figures go up.
Were there missed opportunities, James, for businesses? We heard in Andy's report, in fact, the national minimum wage is good for some people, but it could also put a freeze on recruitment for many businesses. It's going to cost them too much.
Well, the budget is a package. There is help for recruitment of young people, particularly apprentices, and in Bury we have lots of apprentices seeking work, seeking those placements, and for businesses it will become free to hire apprentices now as a result of this. Business rate reform, which if Tom's heard what they are saying, he will have also heard that business rates needed scrapping or reforming growing, and the government is committed to actually lifting the threshold by which business rates are applied, and actually that's by transferring the cost of that to the larger warehouse businesses that are often used by the tech giants.
Okay, thank you very much. So it was a significant budget. In fact, we knew most of what was in it before Rachel Reeves had even stood up in the House of Commons today, but I guess now it's time for it all to sink in and to find out how it really is going to affect all of us in our everyday lives for years to come. Rog.
Annabelle, thanks very much. Yes, indeed, the questions will continue to come, will they not? And here's a question you probably never expected to hear on the programme this evening. Where have all the salmon gone? Well, it's the question that's being asked on the River Ribble, where there's been a dramatic decline in the numbers of Atlantic salmon, which return at this time of the year to spawn. Work is now underway to see if that trend can be reversed, as Annie Knowlson's been finding out.
On a fresh autumn morning, a crowd stands waiting for the moment to see something truly spectacular. The River Ribble Salmon Run.
This is incredible. You know, they've swum over 3,000 miles at sea. They've swum about 60 miles from the Ribble estuary, and they've now reached this natural waterfall, which is got 3 steps, and they're desperately trying to get to the really good spawning habitat where there's lovely clean gravel that they can dig their nests. With that navigation, it means a lot of jumping. Very few of them make it first time, so what we get is a bit of a bottleneck where we get a lot of salmon congregating below the waterfall and making multiple attempts.
This leap of faith isn't by chance. These salmon have made their way through the northwest to this waterfall at Stainforth Foss after taking on a treacherous journey. They head towards Greenland to search for better food resources. They are then led by their sense of smell and the Earth's magnetic field to return home to spawn.
Through that process, they'll get battered and scraped, and they might pick up infections. And so by the time they've got to here, they really have been through the mill.
Whether it's their first or 40th time watching, it's a sight amazing people here.
I can't believe they can jump up that such fast-flowing water, you know.
It's something Axel and his granddad have managed to capture on camera.
It's a big fish. It was about 20 pounds, I reckon. We've seen at least 3, haven't we?
And you saw a salmon? Yes! What did you think when you saw it? Cool, man.
I'm a keen fly fisherman, and it's just marvellous to see. It's the joy. You gets your heart pumping. Over the last 40 years, people have been fishing and come back with half a dozen, and now they're coming back with one if they're lucky. I haven't caught one this year.
While this is a spectacular sight to see, sadly over the last 10 years there's been a dramatic decline, with now only half the number of salmon making this journey, and that's due to things like climate change and overfishing. Well, the Ribble Rivers Trust is working hard to protect the habitat so that the salmon can carry on doing this for years to come.
There are a lot of artificial barriers, weirs that used to power all our mills, so we've been removing them, or we've been putting what's called a fish pass, something like a ladder that allows fish to swim over. We've been working with our farmers to try and reduce the amount of nutrients they apply to land to improve water quality. We've been planting trees and creating woodlands that help to get the water into the ground and keep the nutrients on the ground. If there's too much water, it washes the redds away, the nests away. But the big piece of work that we've been doing lately is natural flood risk management.
Slowing the flow and providing vital habitat so these salmon can keep on running all the way home. Annie Knowlson, BBC North West Tonight, the River Ribble.
It's an impressive sight to see, isn't it? Or you could call it cool, man, if you see it that way. Here are some of the other stories that people are reading this evening from BBC News. Lancashire County Council says that it has reduced road defects by 40% in a year. The cost of filling potholes has dropped by a third as well. Now, this woman's face, here it comes, was created by scientists after her 12th century skull was unearthed in Kendal. Now, a public vote has named her Agnes. And a 2026 calendar has been made featuring the Bins of Congleton in Cheshire. Andy Bailey, who made it, has given them names like Vincent van Gogh and Bindiana Jones. You can find out more at bbc.co.uk/local news, or have a look, as always, on the BBC News app. Now, we were discussing the budget with Andy and Annabelle a few minutes ago. One of the Chancellor's biggest economic problems is the number of people choosing not to work or dropping out of the workforce. A food bank charity in Buxton now thinks that it might have part of the answer, and it's won a national award for its work. It's all to do with something called micro jobs, as Kelly Foran has been finding out.
What started as a food bank now helps people one step at a time, gives them something to put on their CV, routine and confidence. And the idea came from...
Everyone uses who are now clean. One of them said, who's going to employ me? I've been on heroin for 20 years. And we thought, well, I suppose we could. And we discussed the idea with the local council, who decided to fund it.
It's a beautiful countryside town. However, Buxton is also quite isolated, with mainly seasonal tourist jobs. Turam was desperate to stay off the drugs and was offered some volunteer and some paid work at Zinc.
I mean, I got out of rehab, rung Jane and said I'm coming back. I was here the next day, so if I didn't have had that, I would have rung a dealer.
Jojo was a recovering alcoholic, but has slowly been introduced back to her passion.
How much has this place changed your life?
Massively, and massively. I wouldn't be here now. I would have probably gone back to addiction had I not had something like this to motivate me and keep me, you know, doing what I'm doing, which, again, I absolutely adore, you know.
Well, we won't delay you any longer. I've seen an order's just come in.
That's fine. Thank you very much. OK.
I find their work profoundly moving and profoundly hopeful.
They've just won a national award for their microjobs scheme and say if the government did this, they could save millions of pounds. More people in work, fewer on benefits.
If somebody goes into work after 30 years of being on benefits, there's a huge saving. 75% of the people who get a microjob transfer into mainstream work within the 6-month period.
They say this works. It tackles poverty before it's too late. It's Turam's final few days here before he starts a new full-time job.
Where do you potentially think you might be if this place didn't exist?
I would be dead, I'm not going to lie. It was a last resort for me. It was a lifeline.
Kelly Foran, BBC North West Tonight in Buxton.
Some great work being done there. Right, bit of football for you. Pep Guardiola says he takes full responsibility for Manchester City's defeat in the Champions League last night. City's manager made 10 changes to the team, which lost in the Premier League at the weekend as they played Bayer Leverkusen at the Etihad, but it backfired, the German side winning 2-0.
Take absolutely full responsibility, but too many changes, so... What I said always, I believe that in long seasons, every 2 days, 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, everybody has to involve, but maybe it was too much seeing the result.
Tonight, Liverpool play in the Champions League. It may be seen as a welcome distraction, I guess, from their Premier League troubles this season. Under pressure, Arne Slot's side are at home to PSV Eindhoven at Anfield. Weather with Keeley shortly, but first a really sweet story. Ron Hill grew up in Blackpool. For years, he took his family to the Tower Ballroom every year, but he's not been inside it since the mid-1990s. Ron moved away years ago, and having now been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, he's about to move into a care home. But before he does, his wife, Marilyn, and their family wanted Ron to come home for one last dance. And Phil Chapman was there.
Fancy dancing like this. That'd be wonderful. It's lovely.
Ron and Marilyn had the legendary Blackpool Tower Ballroom all to themselves for their last dance in the town where Ron was born. The couple moved to Oxfordshire in the 1970s, and at a very poignant time in their lives, this homecoming visit to Blackpool was a dream come true for them and their family.
How was it for you, darling?
Same as you, darling.
Ron and Marilyn's granddaughter, Olivia, took to TikTok when she couldn't book the ballroom for their last dance. Her friend shared it, and then obviously because it's such a heartwarming story, it went viral. The family have organised one last trip for him. He's not going to be able to travel because he's going to be going into residential care. They wanted to come to Blackpool, and we were able to make it happen. We're actually closed today, and I'm sure you'll see we're set for a large dinner that's going to take place tonight, but we've managed to bring out some of the dance floor.
I took to TikTok
Didn't realise it would do this. Posted and it went absolutely viral. And yeah, here we are. I've had obviously BBC contacting me, being able to set it all up, and yeah, it's absolutely incredible.
It's been absolutely brilliant, and every time I come, it just fills me up. It's just gorgeous.
What score would you have got on Strictly, you two?
Oh, Strictly.
What score would you have got?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 360.
Oh, it goes all the way around then.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And as a keen musician, Ron got to play the mighty Wurlitzer organ, first installed in the Tower Ballroom before he was born.
Yeah, I play piano.
For many, many years.
Many, many years,
What else do you play?
Well, I play a ukulele, and I'm in a ukulele club. Yes, and we go around to like care homes to entertain them. I carry on my life, although, you know, I've got problem things on my head and everything, but yeah, I enjoy myself.
Phil Chapman, BBC North West Tonight, in Blackpool.
Lovely that Ron came home. Our best wishes to Ron and to Marilyn. Right, let's have a look at the weather, shall we? It's been cold for a few days, Keely, but you teased us to say it might be warming up a little.
Yeah, you'll be really relieved to know, Roger, you can turn that thermostat down, maybe even the heating off for the next 24 hours because, I know you, because it is going to be very mild, unseasonably mild for tomorrow. But wasn't it cold this morning? These are the scenes across Cheshire where temperatures dropped back to -4.4. In fact, these were the scenes everywhere, weren't they? We had a lovely frosty start wherever you were. And you can keep your pictures coming into the Weather Watchers page. We're on social media as well. Tomorrow is going to be a very different day. There's going to be a lot of cloud. There'll be some rain for some of us, but it will be mild with temperatures well above average of the seasonal norm. And that's because we're in this warm sector with air coming in from the southwest. A cold front will go through, very windy conditions late Thursday and into Friday as well. And then things cooling down. We'll see a return to some cooler nights as we head through the course of the weekend. It's cloudy and it's rainy out there at the moment. Once that rain moves out of the way, it'll leave a legacy of cloud, mist and murk, particularly for the coasts and hills, and further spells of rain returning at times. Temperatures overnight will be higher than last night, 6 or 7 degrees below. It's been very mild across the Isle of Man today, and temperatures won't drop very much overnight tonight. So tomorrow, a lot of cloud, mist and fog for the hills and the coast in particular, and pockets of rain and drizzle through the morning and on into the afternoon as well. The winds will strengthen through the afternoon, becoming particularly strong, I think, for the coast, where they could touch gale force. This cold front pushing through later in the day. Behind it, the air much clearer. Temperatures tomorrow, look at these, 14 or 15 degrees. Not quite as mild on Friday, but there will be some heavy showers around, then cooling down for the weekend, cooler nights, perhaps even some frost, some sunshine on Sunday, Roger.
But a bit of rain, great.
Yeah, can't have it all.
Thanks, Keely, very much indeed. That's it from us. Thank you, as always, for watching. Whatever you're doing, here I am. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.